Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with JAYONBOXING here with predictions for the Junto Nakatani versus Alexandro Santiago card. And as always, these are just my takes, of course. Your predictions can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. But before we get started, be sure to like, subscribe, and share, of course. Greatly appreciate all the activity that you guys give me on the channel. Greatly helps out and definitely appreciate it. So a little bit of show info here. It'll be headlined by Junto Nakatani taking on Alexandro Santiago, and this will be at the National Sumo Arena in Tokyo, Japan, airing on ESPN in the States in the Bantamweight division, with the WBC Bantamweight title currently possessed by Santiago on the line. In the featured fight, you'll be seeing Takuma Inoue, the brother of Naoya Inoue, taking on Jerwin Ancajas in the Bantamweight division as well, with Inoue's WBA Bantamweight title on the line. And of course, we'll be seeing Bacasegua taking on KOSEI Tanaka in the Junior Bantamweight division, with the vacant WBO version of the title on the line. So for me, a very fun card all the way over in Japan, and one I think deserves a bit more attention, so we're going to give it to it. You have 3 title fights on the same bill, and all near that sort of kind of pick'em mark, if you will, more or less, certainly with closer odds than you get for most triple headers. In the main event, you have the dynamic Junto Nakatani moving up and challenging world titleist Alexandro Santiago at bantamweight. Great fight in my opinion. While Nakatani is the favorite, Santiago is solid for the weight and isn't going to be a pushover, so certainly one to watch. And of course, the co-featured bout will be pitting bantamweight titleist Inoue versus former titleist in Jerwin Ancajas, also a solid chief support. And in that third spot, we will of course have Tanaka taking on Bacasegua, which is going to be for a junior bantamweight title that is currently vacant. Again, another close call. So all in all, a fun fight card and one that I think we should take a look at. So let's break these fights down. Starting with the main event here, and as you can see, the key is here for Nakatani. I think Nakatani is one of those rare punchers that doesn't need to step into his power all the time. Of course, he can definitely get some real torque and leverage on those shots when he does, but he can also make it work when his man is chasing and gets caught. Santiago is going to look to come forward often, so it makes sense for Nakatani to lay back and set those traps. As Santiago looks to close distance, Nakatani can take that half step back and land that massive left hand. That said, with Santiago trying to come forward so often, you're going to want to ensure you aren't giving him easy pathways. You have to stay off that straight line. Simple and subtle head movement definitely helps out in that situation, and those small steps to the side as you back away can keep Santiago off of you, or at least not giving him a clear pathway. Also, you have the longer reach, so jabbing can work here as well to create some space and set up some of those shots we discussed. It also stops Santiago from thinking he'll have an easy time coming in, because there's something meeting him there and giving him something to think about. And that hesitation can of course work in your favor. Now switching over to Santiago. Now as the much shorter fighter, Santiago can benefit from going to the body. And really, he can benefit in several ways. For starters, the body is often open for shorter fighters when they get on the inside. Sometimes take what you're given. But also, this works for a few other reasons. Nakatani is a hard hitter, so take some of the wind out of his sails and see just how much power you can drain. He's also moving up, is Nakatani, so see if that extra weight becomes more of a factor if you impact his breathing with those kind of heavier body blows. So make sure to keep that as one of your priorities in this fight. Okay, and while Nakatani can fight going backwards, of course, you will need to get inside and press a little bit more to kind of settle him down and tame him a bit more. Otherwise, the reach and power from the outside will be too dangerous. Yes, you will have to be wary of the uppercut. Nakatani has a good one and can land well against shorter fighters, but you have to pick your poison here to some degree, because Nakatani getting full extension on his shots from the outside as you're trying to walk in and creating that double impact is the worst of those options. So get inside and make it count with the body attack, and then trying to settle him down enough that you can land some of that better work. And in terms of my pick here, in this one, I'm going with the odds, and I think Nakatani could very well be very good, and I think it shows in this fight. Santiago will look to make this a Santiago fight, trying to come in, land something on the inside, and he's a good fighter, so he'll have maybe some moments, but I think Nakatani walks him into those left hands and some big uppercuts that ultimately wear him down, really begin to kind of take some of the fight out of him. Nakatani drops his man in those middle frames, and maybe in the later middle frames, finishes him off with one of those follow-up barrages. Winner, Junto Nakatani via mid-fight stoppage. Now, heading into the co-featured bout of the evening here, of course, we have Inoue versus Ancajas. We'll start with the titleist in Inoue here. Inoue has decent speed and picks his shots pretty well. However, he's a different fighter when he's pressed back and made to be more defensive. That's when his opponents have an easier time winning in those moments. Inoue doesn't have the pop to keep guys honest all the time. So it can have defensive lapses when he's against the ropes as well, and that allows guys to get off a bit more. So you will need to circle and move in those moments if you're Inoue. Reset, then get back to jabbing and setting up those accurate shots, because he can be pretty accurate once he gets going. He definitely has some unique combinations he can throw and does pretty well. One of those pinpoint shots that you can land is, of course, that right hand, specifically down the middle. With Ancajas being a southpaw, the right hand will definitely be a key weapon for Inoue, in my opinion, so it's one that he needs to use. The right hand can, of course, also be set up by the jab, as well as from hooking with the left hand to kind of better line the shot up. Either lead-in shot can work for Inoue, and he throws both well enough that it should be something that he employs in this fight and can lead to some success. Now, switching to Ancajas, as mentioned, Inoue isn't nearly as successful when he's backing up. So if you're Ancajas, you want Inoue taking backward steps. It's pretty common sense there. Put him up against the ropes, and then you can let off with those harder shots, as Inoue doesn't have the best defense in close, and you might be able to land more consistently there. How you get him backed up is pretty simple. It's based on a few things, in my opinion. Jabbing will help, and even though you are moving up in weight, you have the longer reach. Use that jab to get going, back him up, and then start pressing him with that lower kind of force you might have. Another way to back him up, of course, is by working with a little more volume. Truthfully, Ancajas is a bit more selective with his shots. However, I think this fight calls for him to be a bit busier. He doesn't have to triple his normal output, but throw a few more jabs, be more willing to press, be more willing to put some combinations together, and definitely throw more if and when you have Inoue put up against the ropes or in the corner. Moving up, you can't rely on single shots or merely your power. You're a decent puncher, but again, moving up, you just don't know how that carries, so you need to play a bit more of a numbers game, especially when it doesn't favor your opponent anyway. So get your hands a bit busier and you might have success. Now, in terms of my pick here, it's another interesting one, but I'm going with Inoue in a relatively competitive encounter. Barring Ancajas catching Inoue with something massive that I don't see coming, I think Inoue uses his fast hands and overall fresher legs to stick and move well, picking up closer rounds. I don't think Ancajas will be busy enough to make a difference, and Inoue will stay busier enough and more accurate, landing the right hand well to pull away in the latter frames. Winner, Takuma Inoue via unanimous decision. And in terms of the quick picks here, we have KOSEI Tanaka taking on Christian Bacasegua, which is again for the vacant WBO bantamweight title. In this one, I'm going with Tanaka via late fight stoppage. This could be an interesting one, but I'm rolling with Tanaka just based on the footage that I've seen from both fighters. I think he has a little bit more in his game that I like. I think his faster, sharper work gets the job done. He's patient, but he will press forward at times and land heavy blows down the middle that ultimately win him this contest and the vacant goal. And as you can see here, we have the betting odds here with Nakatani and Santiago, and of course the Inoue versus Ancajas fight here as well. Relatively close for two championship fights on the same bill, because you just don't always get the closest of fights in boxing. But here you have some decent odds to pick from. Haven't been able to find over-unders just yet for this fight, but I will post them in the comment section when I find them. In terms of the money lines, the line that probably gives me the best feel for it might be the Inoue one. I'm pretty confident he wins this fight, and you're getting about 2.3 to 1 odds. Not terrible for a favorite. And again, you have to remember, if this goes to decision, it's in Japan. Inoue is the Japanese fighter, so he might get some of the benefit of the doubt in those closer frames. Whether he should or not being inconsequential, you have to factor that in as well. So if I were picking a line just based on a kind of money line here, that might be what I'm rolling with there. In any event, those are your odds. And my prediction record as of this recording is 10-3 with 6 exact for the year. But let me know your thoughts, your bets, your picks, all that good stuff down in the comments. And of course, please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me all the social media here. And be sure to visit JAYONBOXING.com for schedule, results, betting odds, grades, rankings, and more. And as always, until next time.